On Thursday, the 4th of December, the Swiss Federal Office for Defence Procurement announced the selection of the SIG Sauer P320 to replace the venerable P75 or the SIG Sauer P220, which had been in service since 1975. So I thought it was a good time to break down all of the major militaries that have adopted the SIG Sauer P320 over the last 10 years. The SIG P320 is a modular striker fire pistol which uses the typical short recoil tilting barrel action. It has a serialized trigger group and is available in varying grip frame sizes. It evolved from the hammer-fired SIG P250 and entered production in 2014. In September 2015, the US Army and US Air Force released a request for proposals for a new service pistol. This launched the Modular Handgun System program seeking to replace the Beretta M9, which entered service in 1990. The P320 faced off against a broad field of competitors, including Beretta's APX, the CZ P07, the FN-FNS, the Smith & Wesson M&P M2.0, the Glock 17 MHS, and the STI Detonics STX. Down selection and further testing took place in 2016 before the winner was announced in January 2017. The 101st Airborne were the first unit to be issued with the new XM17 and compact XM18 pistols, and fielding continues into the 2020s. The US Air Force and US Navy procured the smaller M18 with its 3.9-inch barrel. The US Marine Corps also eventually selected the M18 to replace the M9, M9A1, M45A1 and the M007, the Glock 19, in September 2020. Almost 10 years after the US Army launched the Modular Handgun System program, it was announced that the MHS General Forces configuration had been approved. The MHS GFC introduces new parts and accessories for the M17 and M18. This system allows units and soldiers to customize their sidearms to a greater degree. The new parts and accessories include new grip frames, flared magazine wells, gas pedal takedown levers, slide-mounted or standalone Romeo M17 pistol red dot sights, and special barrels. The GFC introduces elements seen on the popular X-Carry variants. In April 2018, the Danish Armed Forces became the second military to select the P320. The Danish Ministry of Defence selected the P320 X-Carry variant of the pistol. The Danish Army pistol trials began in 2017. The P320 X-Carry beat competition from the Glock 17 Gen 5, Beretta APX, and the Canik TP9 SF to replace Denmark's P49s, their designation for the older SIG P210s. The Danish pistols have the enhanced X-Carry polymer grip frame, a flat trigger, an extended beaver tail, an extended removable flared magwell, an optics-ready slide, and a deep trigger guard undercut. Notably, the pistols don't have a frame-mounted manual safety. At the time of the adoption, Tom Ilvius Brisson, the chief of the Danish Defence Acquisition and Logistics Organisation's weaponry branch, said, "By far, SIG Sauer's P320 X-Carry outperformed the competition throughout our rigorous and stringent testing process. The pistol is the modern firearm we are looking for to support our soldiers. The P320 X-Carry has a larger magazine capacity, comes reflex red dot ready for sighting, and has the ability to incorporate a suppressor, all extremely important features to our soldiers for their sidearm today." It's unconfirmed just how many pistols Denmark procured, though it's likely to have been under 10,000. At the time of the announcement of the procurement, it was said that they expected to complete the fielding of the pistols by the end of 2019. Interestingly, it doesn't appear that they've given it a specific designation, instead using the pistol's commercial name, the P320 X-Carry. One of the less widely reported adoptions of the P320 came in 2019, when the Mexican National Guard reportedly acquired 50,000 P320s. Some sources suggest that the pistol is also used by elements of the Mexican military. The pistols were ordered in 2019 and appear listed in the National Guard's 2021 Annual Activity Report. They can also be regularly seen as standard issue equipment in imagery shared by the Mexican government. Some photos of the pistols show the slides engraved with SDN, Mexico's Defense Department. The pistols otherwise appear to be stock full-size duty model P320s in black with no manual safety. Canada became the next nation to select the P320, replacing their 80-year-old English-made Browning high powers. Opting for a full-size pistol with a 4.7-inch barrel, the pistol differs from the American M17 pattern pistol in that it lacks a frame-mounted manual safety, and its rear sight is fixed on the slide, with the optics mounting plate located separately just ahead of it. It also has unique Canadian engravings on the slide, and both slide and frame are completely cerakoted in an FDE colour. The Canadian Armed Forces adopted the P320 as the C22, with an initial order for 7,000 pistols for the Canadian Army announced in October 2022. At the time of the announcement, Anita Anand, the Minister of National Defence, said, "The Government of Canada is committed to providing the Canadian Armed Forces with the equipment they need when they need it. Replacing the Browning 9mm with the C22 full-frame modular pistol will help to ensure the continued operational readiness and effectiveness of all of our members. There is an additional option for a further 9,500 pistols to support the Royal Canadian Air Force, Royal Canadian Navy, and military police requirements." Canada's transition to the C22 began in June 2023, when it was also confirmed that the Canadian government was also in the process of procuring an additional 2,272 pistols for the Canadian Army, 1,550 for the Royal Canadian Navy, and 2,478 for the Royal Canadian Air Force. In December 2023, the Canadian Armed Forces also announced that they would start issuing the carry-sized C24 pistol in early 2024. At the beginning of October 2022, the Australian Defence Department announced that under its lethality system project Land 159, a raft of new small arms were selected for the Australian Defence Force's dismounted combatants. The P320 was chosen to replace Australia's Browning high-power Mark IIIs. The X-Carry Pro was selected as the platform for the sidearm weapon system requirement. The Australian pistol has a manual safety, suppressor height sights, and a 3.9-inch barrel. It also comes mounted with a SIG Romeo 2 half-shroud reflex sight, and a Foxtrot 2 white light illuminator, which itself is designated the F10. In September 2024, this package as a whole was designated as the F9. Unlike the X-Carry selected by the Danish, the X-Carry Pro chosen by Australia has its rear sight mounted on the slide rather than on the optics plate. Elements of the ADF's 7th Brigade became some of the first Australian units to begin training with the pistols in August 2025. And finally, as mentioned at the start of the video, most recently the Swiss Army has selected the P320 X-Carry Pro to replace its P75s. The Swiss sought a pistol with modern ergonomics, modularity, and a 30-year service life. The tender for a new pistol was launched in 2024. From the pistols submitted, 5 were selected for evaluation, and 3 were down-selected. After further testing, the P320 beat out competition from the Glock 45 Gen 5 and the Heckler & Koch SFP9. Intriguing, the Swiss Federal Office for Defence Procurement noted that initially only the Glock 45 met all mandatory criteria and was classified suitable for service. The SIG, however, was selected following a cost-benefit analysis, and the Swiss note that SIG Sauer are contractually obliged to resolve any issues found with the pistols and establish production for the majority of the pistols locally in Switzerland. The Swiss have set aside what they describe as a mid-range double-digit million amount for the procurement of 140,000 P320s, with the initial lot numbering 50,000 pistols. The image shared by the Swiss Army showed an FDE coloured pistol, while a subsequent photo shared by SIG Sauer Switzerland showed one with a black slide and a green frame with a Swiss cross on the grip. Despite controversies surrounding the pistol and SIG Sauer's ongoing response, feel free to debate that in the comments, the P320 continues to win major military contracts around the world. SIG have optimised their approach, partnering on a number of occasions with local companies and offering a capable but more importantly affordable sidearm. As such, when this video is being published, the P320 is involved in a number of ongoing and upcoming pistol trials. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this interesting. Please do consider supporting us via Patreon. You can get early access to all of our videos as well as some perks there as well. Otherwise, please do share the videos with friends and anyone that might find them interesting. Thanks again. Catch you next time.